right, well, starting it over again. Here we go. Last time, Moses said, God, I can't do it. I just talked to the Jewish people. They don't listen to me. And Paro is not going to listen to me. Paro also for sure is not going to listen to me. Okay, here we go. And this is going to be a theme that's going to constantly repeat itself. That Moses is constantly going to refuse. And the simple reason is because he's afraid that he's going to just wreck up this wonderful job that God is giving him. Okay. This is what we learned yesterday. Oh, all right. So now it stops. God says, I'm going to give you Aaron. He'll go with you. And you're going to be the spokesman, but you're only going to speak to Aaron. And Aaron, he's going to be your voice box. He's going to speak. Now we're going to see later on, in just a few minutes, that Aaron and Moshe were really equal. Okay, here we go. Let's go. Eilu Rashei Bnei Yisrael. Now we're going to take a little bit of a break. We're taking a little bit of a break and going back and explaining where Moses came from. The background of Moses. We're going to see why we're doing this. Okay. Eile Roshei B'nai. Now you have to remember who's writing this, right? God is writing it. This is God who's creating you and me right now. So this is pretty serious business. Eile Roshei B'nai Avosan. These are the heads. And these are the heads of the fathers, the forefathers from Moses and Aaron. Now you remember that the whole business, Judaism started off with Abraham. And Abraham had a son called Yitzchak, and Yitzchak had a son called Yaakov, and Yaakov had 12 sons. One of those sons is going to be Levi, and from Levi is going to come Moses and Aaron and everybody. And everyone, okay? You have to call me up in another half an hour. I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of a class. Good? Where are you now? Where are you? You here? Yeah, okay. I don't know why all these people are calling right now. Okay. So it says, Mitoch Shalom Mendi Shalom. Slicha Shalom Lekachtetcha. Because Shehuskach Liyachas Shivto, because we have to know where the tribe of Levi comes from, and until we get to Moses and Aaron, for the sake of Moses and Aaron, it begins to tell them where they come from, where it starts off. So it says Reuven, he's the firstborn from Leah. He's the firstborn of Yaakov. Reuven, and then Shimon, and then comes Levi. Oh, we're interested in his Levi. That's all. Levi is the main one. And we're going to see why we don't continue and why we even have to talk about Reuven and Shimon. But he says because he gives another reason, that because we remember when Yaakov gave the blessings, remember when Parshas Vayechi, right at the end of the book of Genesis, Yaakov gave, the blessings that he gave to the first three tribes, Reuven and Shimon and Levi, they weren't really such blessings. He really sort of told them off. Shekantaram Yaakov Avinu l'shlosh shafatim, that Yaakov really gave a big reproof to Reuven and Shimon and Levi. So you might think that he didn't like those three tribes because he didn't say really good things about them. He reproved Reuven because of what he did and Shimon and Levi. Anyways, now he comes back, but Yachsim Khan, to tell you shechashuvim, that they were really important, and that Yaakov really did love all three of them. Here's an interesting kliyakar. Says Lefi Sharotza, because God wanted to give the Torah, and the Torah is connected with the number 3. The Torah is connected with the number 3. He gave the Torah in the 3rd month of the year, Nisan is the first month of the year, and then Iyar and Sivan is the third month of the year. And the Torah is also a triple Torah. It has Torah, and it has the prophets, and then it has the writings, Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim. It has three. And also he wants to give it to a tribe that has only three sons. And we're going to see that the only one that does have Gershon and Kahat, and we're going to see from Levi, right? And here, let's see. So he wants to give a tribe that has only three children. Number three. Therefore, he began to check which is the tribe that has three. Starts off with Reuven. No, Reuven has four sons. Shimon has five sons. Levi has only three. Gershon, Kahat, and Merari. We'll see in a moment. Now Moses, he's the great grandson of Levi. Levi is going to give birth to Kahat, and Kahat gives birth to Amram, and Amram is the father of Levi. And we're going to see that there's a connection between all these people. Let's go. And therefore, as soon as he got to Levi, and Levi has three sons, so God said, that's what I want. I want Meshulash. I want a triple family. Also, it says that Moses was, the family say that he looked through Reuven first to see if any of his sons was really fit to be the messenger and the emissary of God, just like Shmuel looked for the sons of Yishni. If you remember the story with Shmuel, and look in the book of Samuel, the book of Shmuel is that God tells Shmuel to inaugurate King Saul. And King Saul does something that God doesn't like, and he says, okay, Saul is disqualified. You're going to have to look for a new king, and who's it going to be? It's going to be one of the sons of Yishai. So Yishai brings out all of his sons, and Shmuel also goes sifting through them. And all of them are holy and beautiful and strong and powerful and wise. But Samuel says, Shmuel, the prophet, nah, none of these. This is not the one that God wants. Maybe you have another son. And Yishai, right? This is going to be like, 400 years after this story here with Moses taking the Jews out of Egypt. But it said 450. So Yishai brings out all of his sons, and he says, no. He says, maybe you've got another son. And he brings out David, who was like the last one. He didn't really want him. He said, oh, this is the one that God wants, David. But the same thing happened here. Reuven has 12 sons. I'm sorry, Levi has 12 sons. And so God is sifting through them to see which one is going to give birth to Moses, who's going to take the Jews out. So therefore, as he looked, didn't have to look through all of them. And he saw that he looked through the first two, and the first two were not good because he didn't find anybody. Also, as soon as he wanted to find somebody in the sons of Reuven, Shimon, didn't find them until finally he came to Levi. And Levi found Aaron and Moshe, and he said, that's who I want. Okay, now we're going to go through the sons again. Ready? The sons of Shimon were Yemuel, Yamin, Ohad. Now we're going to stop at Levi, right? The third. Right here, the first son is Shimon. Shimon had Yemuel, Yamin, Ohad, Yachin, Tzochar, and Shaul ben Canaanite. Who was the Shaul ben Canaanite? We said this before, that the Shimon was forced to get married to Dinah. They said that Dinah was pregnant from Shechem, and therefore it's considered to be his son. That's why he's called the son of a Canaanite. Shimon. These are the sons of Shimon. These are the names of the sons of Levi. And this is what they wanted. We got Reuven. Reuven didn't make it. What about Shimon? Also not. Now we got the Levi. This is the one we wanted. Levi had Gershon, Kahat, and Merari. And the years of the life of Levi, how long did Levi live? 137 years. It doesn't say about any of the others. Why does it tell us how old Levi is? What do we care? So it says, why does it, Rashi asked that question, why are the years of Levi mentioned? To tell you how many of the days the Jewish people were in exile. Actually, were suffering in slavery. Now, we know that the Jewish people were in slavery for 210 years, but not all those 210 years were they actually enslaved. Did they have to work? Shekol Zaman, that all the time that one of the tribes was still alive, the hard work, slavery didn't begin. That's what it says, Vayomas Yosef, B'kol Achav. That's what it says. We learned that before, that Yosef died and all of his brothers. And afterwards, there was a new king. Levi was longer living than any of the others. Now, if you make a computation of how long it is, and we're not going to make the computation now, but it comes out that Levi, when he came into, Levi lived in Egypt for 94 years. That's how long he lived in Egypt. He was 137 when he died, but only 94 of those years was he actually in Egypt, because he went down to Egypt when he was already an older person. He was already 43 years old when he went down into Egypt. He makes a calculation how it was. So Levi, when he went down into Egypt, he was 43, and he died at this age over here. So it ended up that he was 94 years old. If you subtract 94 years old from the 210 years that Jews were in Egypt, so it means the first 94 of those 210 years, the Jews did not suffer. Only when Levi died, after they were there for 94, so it ends up that the Jews were only suffering in Egypt for 116 years. That's what it comes to. So Levi has three sons, right? Gershon, Kahat, and Merari. The sons of Gershon are Shimi, Livni, and Shimi. The sons of Kahat, and this is the ones that we really want, are Amram, that's going to be the father of Moses, Yitzhar, Chevron, and Uziel. And the life of Kahat was 133 years old. Rashi, and from this, we know how this is a different number. From here, we know, we'll learn later on, next week's Torah portion, that says the Jewish people, they suffered in Egypt for 400 years. Now, they didn't suffer in Egypt for 400 years. There's no way they could have. If you take all of the years of all the fathers and add them up together, it doesn't come up to 400 years. That Kat, he was one of the people that came into Egypt. And if you take all of his years and the years of Amram and the years of 80 years of Moses, you don't get 400 years, etc. So this is just telling you, what is it? The 400 years is from when Yitzchak was born. 400 years from when Yitzchak was born, that's when the slavery is, that's when it's considered to be 400 years of slavery. Yitzchak was born, right? That's when it's considered to be. So you count from that. All right. The sons of Merari are Machli, Mushi. These are the sons of Levi for their generations. Okay, now back to the son of Kahat. Now Kahat is the son of Levi, right? And son is Amram. Amram is the grandson of Levi. Amram, he takes his aunt. He gets married to his own aunt, which is forbidden to do. But we'll see why it's permissible for him. He gets married to Yocheved Dorato, his own aunt. How did he get married to his own aunt? Because the fact is that Amram was the son of Kahat, right? Levi. It says, Merari, Kahat gave birth to Amram. Now Kahat, he got married to two wives. One of the wives gave birth to, here it just counts the sons. One of the wives gave birth to Amram. The other wife gave birth to Yocheved. What do we care about this? Because Amram and Yocheved, they're going to be the parents of Moses. So he had two sons from two different wives. And because the Torah had not been given yet, so technically a non-Jew is allowed to marry the relatives that come from two different mothers. I'm sorry. Relatives that come. He can marry from two different mothers, and two different mothers, even if they come from the same father, because a ben Noach can marry his sister that comes from his father, and that was the case over here. Amram gave birth to two children. One of them was, Kahat gave birth to two children. One of them was Amram. One of them was Yocheved. But they came from different mothers. And because they came from different mothers, therefore they were allowed to get married. If they would have come from the same mother, let's say, for instance, their mother would have been married to somebody and he died and she got married to someone else, and she gave birth to two children, a son and a daughter, they couldn't get married. Even a non-Jew, they're not allowed to get married. A brother and a sister from the mother can't get married, but a brother and sister from the father can get married. So Amram married his Amram gave married to Yocheved, his aunt. She took him for a wife, again, because Kahat. How did I mess this up? Kahat gave birth to Amram, and Kahat. I'm sorry, I didn't say this properly. Levi got married to two women. They gave birth to two sons. One of those sons was what did I do? How did I become confused? I'm sorry. Amram gets married to his own aunt. What I said was right. I just got the names mixed up. Amram gets married to his own aunt, Dorato, to Yocheved Dorato. So Amram gets married to the sister of his father. A person cannot get married to the sister of his father. The father of Amram was Kahat. Levi was the one who got married to two different women. From one, he gave birth to Kahat, and one he gave birth to Yocheved. Amram now got married to his aunt, his father's sister, which he could do because it was his father's sister, but only from his grandfather, not from his father. Okay. She gave birth to Aaron, Amram, and Yocheved. Amram, who got married to his aunt, the sister of his father, but from a different mother, they gave birth to Aaron and to Moshe. And we'll see also to Miriam, but they're only listening to men here. And the life of Amram was 137 years old. Rashi says Yocheved Dorato, she was the sister of his father. She was the daughter of Levi. So Levi was the one who got married to two different women. One of them gave birth to Kahat, and the other one gave birth to Yocheved, his mother. To Yocheved, Moses' mother. That was Moses' mother. And Amram got married to his own aunt. Okay, that's the point. Now the sons of Yitzhar are Korach, Nepheg, V'Zichri. Now Korach is going to make a lot of trouble, but after the Jews get out of Egypt, he's going to make trouble. Uziel, the sons of Uziel, are Mishael, El-Safan, V'Sisri. These are all from Levi. Aaron took Elisheva. Okay, so Moses, Moses is the product of his Amram, and Amram's aunt, who is Yochebed. Aaron, meanwhile, he gets married to Elisheva, and she's the daughter of Aminadav. What's that important? Because she, his wife, Elisheva, she's the sister of Nachshon ben Aminadav. Nachshon is the famous Jew that jumped in, the first Jew to jump into the Yam Suf, and he split the sea. She gave birth to Nadav and Avihu, Elazar, and Itamar. Nadav and Avihu are going to be the famous ones that are going to rush into the Holy Temple, into the tabernacle on the first day. They, as soon as it's possible to run in, they ran in improperly and they died. That's going to be Nadav and Avihu. And Korach gave birth to Asir, Elkanan, Eviasaph. These are the families of Korach. And Elazar ben Aaron, and now it's going to get interesting. We already learned where Korach came from. And now we're going to learn where Korach became a big sinner. And a big tzaddik that's going to save all the Jewish people is going to be Pinchas. Pinchas, he comes from the relationship of Elazar, the son of Aaron. That Elazar, he got married to one of the daughters of Yitro, which Yitro we got to before. That's where Moses got married to his wife, right? The daughter of Yitro. So Elazar, the son of Aaron, he gets married to another one of the daughters of Yitro. Where does Yitro come in here? Putiel. Putiel is another one of the names of Yitro. We said that Yitro had 7 names. Well, this is one of them. They said she was the son, one of the children of Yitro. Why Putiel? Because it said he mafatem means he fattened up calves for idolatry. Yitro was a big priest of idolatry, and he left it. And that's when he finally came to Moses. And he came from Yosef, and they came from Yosef, who also Putiel, that he pet Yitro, that he spoke to his evil impulse, Yosef, because Paro's wife wanted to entice him. So Yosef overpowered He rebelled against his own Yetzer Hora. So that's what Yosef also eventually gave birth to. Okay, so they give to Pinchas, and Pinchas, he's going to be the one that he's going to kill. Here, see, Zimri. Okay. Zimri, that's going to be later on. Zimri is from the tribe of Shimon. This is Aaron and Moshe, that God spoke to them to take the Jews out of Egypt. Why does it says this is Aaron and Moshe? It puts Aaron first. Why is Aaron first? It says these are the ones that were mentioned before, that Yocheved gave birth to Amram. This is Aaron and Moshe that God spoke to. There's some places where Aaron comes first, and there's some places where Moses comes first, to tell you that they're really both equal. He took the Jewish people out, al tzivotam, in their numbers, bit otam. What do I mean called saval shifteim? Each and every troop of them was according to the tribes. That what it says, al tzivotam, on their tribes. There's sometimes the word al, yesh al, that doesn't mean al, on top of. Sometimes the word al, it just means like in the place of a letter, like al charbacha techiyah, instead of bi charbacha. Amartem al charbechem, right? Like bi charbechem. Sometimes it can be in the place of the letter base. Okay, it's just grammar. These are the ones that spoke to Paro, the king of Egypt, to take the Jews out of Egypt. This is Moses and Aaron. They are the ones, Haim Shenitztavu, Haim Shekaimu. These are the same ones that were commanded, and these were the same ones that did what they were commanded. Vayehi b'yom diber, and now came the day that Moses spoke Tiber Hashem, that Moses, God spoke to Moses in the land of Egypt. This is attached to what it says afterwards. What's this got to do with anything here? Let's see here. 1 second. Yeah. Just want to go back here. Here it says, the Kli Yakar says on the sentence that this is Aaron, and Moshe puts Aaron first. So he said that because that the main shlichos, the main the emissaries of God, you think it was Moses. Moses was the main thing because God spoke to Moses alone at the burning bush, right? At the Besneh. So you might think that Aaron was secondary to Moses. That's why it says this is Aaron and Moses, says here in the sentence, puts Aaron before Moses. Why? Lomer, to tell you, sheyesh chelik la'Aaron, that Aaron sometimes is superior in taking the Jews out of Egypt, that he's exactly the same as Moshe. Therefore, Aaron in this way is superior. Why? Because Aaron was the one that was actually speaking to Paro. Paro only heard Aaron's voice, didn't hear Moses. But as far as speaking to Paro, it says that Aaron was the main thing and Moshe was secondary, because Moses says it was hard of speaking. Therefore, you might think, so Aaron was the main one. Therefore, later on it says that Moses and Aaron. There, when you might think that Aaron was the main one, that's when it says that no, Moses comes first. To tell you that even in speaking to Paro, that Moses was not secondary to Aaron. So you might think that as far as taking the Jews out of Egypt, that Aaron was secondary. Therefore, it tells you not so. It puts Aaron first. But so you might think, well, when it came to talking to Moses, so you might think that, well, that talking to Paro, we're talking to Paro, that Aaron was the first one. So he says, these are the ones that spoke to Paro. Who spoke to Paro? Aaron was first. Says he's not first. Moses was written before Aaron, to tell you that both of them were equal in everything that they did. Moses and Aaron together. As we're going to continue, God willing, tomorrow, God is going to take the Jews out of Egypt in a real, actual way. You know, we can do, let's do 2 or 3 more here. I'm sorry for the confusion. The people called me up and it just scrambled my mind. Okay. God spoke to Moses, look, I have made you a god to Paro, and Aaron, your brother, he's going to be your prophet. And we talked about this before. I told it before, but I'll say it again because I think it's very beautiful. The Sadia Gaon said that at first glance, this whole business was forbidden, what Moses and Aaron did, because a prophet must give over his prophecy personally. On the other hand, a person that did not hear prophecy from God is not allowed to give over prophecy. That's called a false prophet. A prophet, when he receives prophecy, he cannot withhold that prophecy. He must give it over. And on the other hand, a person that does give over a prophecy they did not hear, so that's forbidden also. If so, that's what it seems here. There's 2 sins. Moses got prophecy from God, and he didn't give it over. He told Aaron that he should speak. On the other hand, Aaron was speaking, but he was speaking the things that he did not hear from God. He heard it from Moses. So that's why it says, God says, no, he said to Moses, I'm making you God to Paro. You're going to be God. You're going to speak. And Aaron, he's going to be your prophet. In other words, you whisper to Aaron what you want to say. You are now God. And Aaron is going to be the one that speaks. That's what Sadia Gaon says. Rashi explains it a little bit differently. He says the word Elohim means severe, the judge. You're going to be the judge, and you're going to punish Paro with all these plagues. And Aaron is going to be your prophet. What does it mean he's going to be a prophet? He'll be your translator. Anytime it says the word prophet, it means a person that announces something. That's called a prophet. That's what he went from the word Niv Sifatayim. Niv means the utterances of my mouth. Yanuv Chachma. So he said, God is speaking to Moses, right? You speak everything that I command you, and Aaron, your brother, he'll speak to Paro, V'shilach, and Paro is going to send the Jewish people from his land. What does it mean? You speak one time, every time I send you, right? As I command you. Each time I send you, you're going to say one thing. And Aaron, he's going to explain it and give all the details to Paro. Says God to Moses, don't expect results immediately. Ani achsher lev Paro. I don't want Paro to remain. Nothing. We're gonna wipe him out totally. I'm going to harden his heart. I'm going to give him courage. I'm going to give him fortify his evil in order that I can so I can make more miracles in the land of Egypt. Here it says, Rashi says, give me a second. Rashi, yeah. The Rashi says, because Paro, he defied me, and it's revealed before me, she'ein nachat ruach ba'umot of the elulim l'tet lev shalem l'shuv. I know that the non-Jews will never really truly return to me. In other words, maybe he'll let you go because he realizes it's for his own benefit, and then he'll return, make some excuse for his people, right? We didn't want them around anyway. They were just a bunch of problems, and let them go. And then he'll go back to his idolatrous ways. So therefore, I'm going to strengthen his heart. I'm going to give him courage and fortitude because I want to give him a lot of makot. And that's what God does. God sometimes brings retribution on the idolaters in order that the Jews will hear it and they will become afraid. Like it says, Yichreti goyim v'nishma'u penotam. I am going to cut off the non-Jews and you will hear and turn to me. Right? That's what it says. Ach tiri'oti tikach musar. Look what I'm going to do and take it to heart. Take it to your heart, etc. Therefore, on these 5 plagues, it doesn't say that God strengthened the heart of Paro. It doesn't say Hashem strengthened the heart of Paro, but it said that Paro's heart strengthened. In other words, Paro really thought he was doing it on his own. He was strengthening his heart. Let's see, one second. Here we sort of skipped one over here. Here he said, I'm going to make you a god to Paro. We're going back to the first one, the Dat Zakenim. Because Paro made himself a god, like God said, the river, the Nile River, is mine, and I made myself. That's what Paro said. So God said, if so, Moses, I'm going to make you into God. You're going to be a real God. Let's just do one more here. But Paro is not going to listen to you. And Benatati, I'll spread my hand, I'll give my hand on Egypt, and I'm going to take all of my hosts, my people, the Jewish sons of Israel from the land of Egypt with big, big judgment. Let's see if we can get this one here. Safrono. It says, Paro is not going to listen to me. Even before he hardens his heart. And also after I harden his heart, he's not going to listen to me. I want to make a lot of miracles. Therefore, I'm going to judge them severely. He said, really, the fact of the matter is, only the last 2 plagues, that really wasn't the plague, the last plague of the killing the firstborn, and when the Egyptians ran after the Jews, and God drowned them in the Yam Suf, only those 2 were in order to punish the Egyptians. Mida keneged Mida, because if you remember, he threw the Jewish children into the sea, right? So he killed the firstborn and he threw the Egyptians into the sea. But all of the other 9 plagues, right, there were 10 plagues, right? And getting drowned in the sea was not one of them. All the other 9 plagues was only to make the Egyptians do tshuva. And for the Jewish people to see, and also for them to do tshuva. And it didn't really work in either case, the fact is. Therefore, it says, now you're going to know that I am God. That's what it says. In order you should know that I am God in the land of Israel. They should know that God, that's what he says in all the other plagues. In order that I should put my signs among the Egyptians, to sapir b'yodei. All of them say, I'm doing these plagues in order that they should do. The Jews and the Egyptians. And even when he sunk the Egyptians, the Egyptian army in the sea, the remainders of the Egyptians also should recognize and know that I am God. So all these plagues that God gave was in order really to let everyone know what God is capable of, and that nature is totally controlled by the creator of all nature. And that's going to be the whole theme of this whole idea of taking the Jews out of Egypt, as we're going to talk about tomorrow, more, God willing, tomorrow. Thank you very much for listening. Sorry for the delays, and we'll see each other, God willing, tomorrow at 8:15 tomorrow morning.